I hate both of you. Alright guys, so today we're finally going to be fixing the Miata. I got my turbo from Wes. Huge thank you to Wes for meeting up with me and giving it to me instead of having to ship it because I got it faster. We got something going on this weekend that I'm trying to fix the Miata for, so we're going to go ahead and get the old turbo off, and I'm going to explain like the difference between the old and the new and journal versus ball bearing and all that stuff. So first I got to see if the Miata starts.
There's a fan right there.
Well, it fired right up, so that's surprising. I mean, not surprising, but I'm kind of surprised. Alright, we're gonna take the turbo off now. Alright, so where I think we're gonna have a problem is this bolt down here, because the stud basically is just like this one, almost hitting, so you can't get the nut off, so you've got to back them all off, slide the turbo, back them off, slide the turbo, and this one's like really hard to get to. So we're just gonna start, see what we can do. Do you remember when I pulled just the head a while back? I tried to pull the turbo off, then realized it was gonna be a pain, and then tried to pull just the manifold and turbo off, and that also wasn't gonna work until we started pulling the head off. So I'm hoping this works out. Alright, so I'm going to take this intake off because I keep sticking my arm through here and like stabbing myself on this. We got that really stubborn bolt down here broken loose, but it's taking forever to turn, so we're going to PB blaster it. And it's really hot, so I changed into shorts because it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside. Not 1,000,000, but like, what would you guys say, 85?
Yeah, probably about 85 and a half.
85 and a half. Alright, so that's the plan for now. This is becoming a longer project than I anticipated. Alright, so we've got that bottom bolt down there backed out most of the way, but now it's hitting, the wrench is hitting the housing. So we're going to try to loosen these and pull the turbo back some and then get it off or something. Oh yeah, there's also this one. It's the same situation. Okay, so next hiccup is this bolt. As you can see, there's like no way to really get the wrench on there to turn it, except for like that, and you can get like that much of a turn. So I don't know really how I'm gonna do this. It's moving. Success. Got it off. Got that one bolt off. Alright. Okay, the turbo is now free. We just got to take off all the cooling and oil stuff.
They expect us to pay for that. He's like, about it. Don't need it.
I don't know if you can see it, but
I haven't been long before you. All the wheelchair vehicles on the full vehicle.
So you can see how much play that has. Completely toast. So let's grab the new turbo. So here's the new turbo. It's on ISIS 3871R. They actually have these rebuilt here in the US. It's journal bearing. This one's ball bearing. This one's a tiny bit bigger. This is like kind of similar equivalent to the size of the turbo that's on Adam's car, whereas this is like the size of a stock SR turbo. So it should make more power at less boost, last longer, but with more power. Alright, real quick, I wanted to explain the difference between a ball bearing and a journal bearing turbo, just very short. So I'll put a diagram right here. This is a journal bearing turbo. As you can see, it has like two bushings basically on the shaft, almost like a rod bearing. And then diagram right here of a ball bearing turbo. So where those bushings would be, it's now actual ball bearings. So what that does is it allows it to spool faster. A ball bearing turbo will spool faster, so you'll get boost a lot earlier. But from my experience, the journal bearings seem to last maybe a little bit longer. I don't know, I've heard both sides of things, but I've generally had the journal bearing, no issues with journal bearings and more issues with ball bearing stuff. And when ball bearing stuff goes bad, it doesn't like slowly go bad, it just completely eats itself and then it's unusable like my turbo now. They're also not rebuildable, the ball bearing turbos. From my experience, I can't find anyone who could rebuild it. So if it goes bad, you're pretty much done, whereas a journal bearing, you can actually rebuild it. So if you blow your turbo up, it's like, you know, maybe 100, 200 bucks for the rebuild kit, as opposed to spending, you know, $1,200 on a new turbo. So that's why I went with the journal bearing this time, and I went with the slightly bigger size just because it's a really good performing turbo. We can turn the boost down to like 7 pounds and make probably about the same, if not a tiny bit more power, but with less stress on the motor. Okay, that was long-winded, but I wanted to explain that to you guys. What in the world? I don't know. I don't understand. This is all I have trying to understand where this turbo came from. It's like a test sheet, but I have no idea. I really don't know. Like, what kind of timing is that? Like, imagine if this came yesterday or tomorrow.
Or earlier today.
Or later today. But it literally came right before I put this turbo on. Weird. We'll check back in when we figure out what's going on here. Haters will say it's video shopped. Alright, well I just realized this is for Haggard Garage. They asked me if they could ship some parts here, and I completely forgot about it until I really thought about it and then realized that's what it was. So I'm going to package this back up for them. You know, just kind of accidentally took it out. Oops. Sorry guys. Alright, so we need to transfer all these fittings and lines over to this turbo. But before we do it, we're going to make sure it like fits and the downpipe looks like it'll bolt up. Just to make sure. Alright, so basically what I have to do to this turbo is drill these holes out. But first I'm going to caulk this, because if it bolts on like that, then the intercooler pipe would go up, but it needs to be like this. Going down, so I've got to spin this cold side 180 degrees and then figure out how to bolt the wastegate bracket back up. I see that, mine doesn't.
Yeah, I see you're working on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to change the turbo to the turbo you have.
Nice.
Dang.
Drives. Kinda.
Kyle finally has his car done.
This thing is really hot, boy. I love it.
I was like, who could be showing up in a Miata right now?
got a few issues, but I got 10 miles on it, so I made it here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Break-in period still?
Yeah, I drove to the gas station and
Spent 1/3 of a gallon.
1/3 of a gallon. There's a car coming down the road and Kyle has to leave. Alright, so I need a cutoff wheel and drill bits to modify this turbo to fit on my car, so I'm going to run to Harbor Freight real quick. I've got like 10 minutes to get there, so we're rolling. So as you can see, the size difference of the cold side, massive difference. So I think they're caulked. I think this one needs to turn a little bit more. This one's caulked pretty close to where it needs to be. We got all the projects going on. My roommate's putting his boat motor.
No, like in all honesty, with me in the
on the boat.
The non-thing.
Still working on the turbo here. Now I've got to drill these out and transfer the fittings and get these studs out. They're like kind of stuck in there. Alright, so I had to rent this thread fixer kit from O'Reilly's to fix the threads on these studs, because to get them out of here there was a nut on this side and there was no way to hold it with other than vice grips, so I had to vice grip the threads, which messed the threads up. Fix them with this. Now I think we're good. Fuck, it's gotta go bigger.
Butter.
Right, dude, these bits are legit. That's perfect. Tight. Done and done. Thank you, sir. Alright, oil drain is installed. Alright, I've preached this rule many times. When you get to this point where you've got tools everywhere, all over the place, parts, bolts, take a moment, reorganize, put the tools up you're not using anymore, organize your bolts and parts and everything. It'll make for a much better work environment and much easier, like, it'll keep you from losing stuff. So we're going to clean up right now. Alright, now that we've got this whole mess cleaned up, we've got all the tools put away from in here, we're going to try to get the studs out of this turbo right here, the old turbo, and put them in the new turbo. Alright, so the first step is to take two nuts, tighten them together. That's how you swap a stud. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest in. Done. That was actually like the easiest thing I've done this whole time. Alright, so we're at a standstill now. So the oil feed This is a -3 AN fitting that comes on the new turbo. The fitting for my old turbo, which is right here, is for a -4 AN and doesn't screw in. The line is for a -4 AN, so I need to get a -3 AN line that'll fit that. And we may be able to eliminate this rubber hose that comes from the other side and just make it a stainless line all the way around. I don't know, I'll have to see what King's Performance has tomorrow when I go look. But we got all the studs in this turbo. We got the studs in the exhaust manifold here. And pretty much everything else swapped over to the new turbo, so it's pretty much ready to go in other than the feed line. So I'm just gonna go ahead and end this video here. That way tomorrow we can focus on like the install and the test drive and all that, seeing how the turbo compares. I'm just waiting for Fed to be trolling me in the background. But sorry we didn't get it finished tonight, but I wanna like make it more complete. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.